Welcome to the Travel Like a Boss podcast, the radio show all about traveling like a boss by being your own boss. Stay tuned for weekly interviews featuring guests that have built their own online businesses. If you would like to have access to our entire back catalog, visit travellikeabosspodcast.com for instant access. And here's your host, Johnny FD.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Johnny, and welcome to episode 140 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. This week is a little bit different. I just got back from Affiliate World, and I brought my mics with me because I wanted to interview some kick-butt speakers there, or people I met at the conference, or just like friends. And turns out I got way too hammered while I was there, and every day I was hungover, and I didn't get to do any of the interviews. But instead of leaving you guys in the dark and just not talking about it or skipping a week, I figured why not spend my Saturday and just record a recap of everything that I learned just on my own. So hopefully you guys like this episode. If you think it's terrible and you never want me to do a solo podcast again, please let me know, because I really don't. I would like to know that. But here is kind of the breakdown of what the conference was about, what I learned, and some kind of takeaways and tips that you guys can bring to either the next event next year if you do go, or really any type of entrepreneur conference out there. So to kind of get started, I want to give you guys a networking tip. Always go there the day before, and always stay at the hotel where the conference is going to be. So why do I say this? It's because it depends on who you want to meet, right? If you want to meet high-level people who are really crushing it, maybe the speakers themselves or the organizers of the event, they are going to be at that hotel because it's more convenient. It might be part of the package, and they might be getting comped for it. Just a host of reasons. And they have to go the day before because there's rehearsals, there's setup, or there is, they just want to rest before they arrive, especially if it's going to be in, another city that most people don't live in. The Nomad Summit in Chiang Mai is a little bit different because it's a smaller event and most people already live in Chiang Mai, including me, the organizer, and a lot of the speakers. So a lot of people won't be staying at the conference. But for bigger events like Affiliate World, because people fly in, all of the organizers, they live in Europe and most in Amsterdam. Most of the speakers flew in from the US or other places. So big events like this, where people are going to be traveling, definitely stay at that hotel and stay the night before. So one thing you might be, thinking or asking yourself right now is, man, that's really expensive. I can get a hotel, just a block away for half the price. And while that's true, you are going to get half the experience, because literally 50% or more of the networking that I did, or the kind of other side experience I got besides just the talks itself, which we'll get into, that came either, before or after. So not like in the non-official times. And the reason why that happens is because, first off, if you get there the day before, nobody's busy yet. Nobody's really burnt out yet. Nobody's been overwhelmed by a million people yet. And you'll be surprised that there's some speakers who really are introverts, or they just need space. Even extroverted people, when they're surrounded by hundreds of people asking them questions, they tend to not really want to talk anymore. But everybody's excited on the first day, and people are more excited on day 0, which is what I call the day before. So the conference officially started on Monday. I got there on Sunday afternoon, and that is actually the day where I met most of the really cool people that were either speaking at the conference or I knew were going to be there afterwards. So a couple tips to save money if you do want to stay at where the conference is one, check with the actual event coordinator themselves to see if they have a special for you guys, because usually when there's a bunch of people booking rooms, people can often have a significant discount at that event. Second, share a room with someone. If you're traveling alone, I don't recommend going on the forums and finding, hey, does anybody want to share a room? Because first off, by the time you find someone, the rooms might be taken. Second, it's that kind of I don't want to say attracts low value people, but you might just get stuck with some random person who's also not willing to take the risk. One easy thing you can do is just book the room yourself and just book it first, book it for 2 beds, and then post in the forums of whatever conference you're going to be attending and say, hey, I have a room at this hotel. Does anybody want to split it? Because that way it already implies that you already have the room. So you are a high value person who's an action taker. You've locked in the room. You've no longer have that as an excuse on why you can't attend. I think that's actually a big reason why I want you to just dedicate first and just get the ticket, get the room, is because then you don't have excuses. Things won't come up saying, oh, well, I couldn't find anyone to share the room with me, so I'm not going. I will guarantee that if you book the room first, then you post, I have the room booked already. Does anybody want to split it? Somebody will jump in. And those people are usually the ones that I would say are going to be slightly, easier to deal with. Because for me personally, I don't mind sharing a room with someone, but I don't want to go on a wild goose chase, with someone else who hasn't taken action yet. So as long as one of you have taken action, and this, and it'll be you this time, then I guarantee you're going to end up doing just better in general, because everyone's gonna benefit from that. So get there the night before and then stay until a day after. Don't stay too many days after, because most people fly the next day. But make sure you don't book your flight for 8 a.m. on the last day or something, because I guarantee you people are going to go out and drink that night, and you're not going to want to miss out on that. But to be honest, that last day isn't the most important day. Day 0 is by far the most important day, because by the last day, you would have met everyone you would have met already. And second, by then, everyone's going to be not only so burnt out from their speaking gig, from meeting hundreds of other people, from drinking for 2 or 3 days, but it's just going to be a mess. But on day 0, everybody's fresh, everybody's sober, everyone's happy to meet each other. So what I did was I checked into my room and I went straight up to the rooftop bar. I've never been to this hotel. It was the Central Grand in Bangkok at Central World. I'd never been there, so I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to eat. I didn't know what to do. But I knew I was hungry, and I had 2 choices. I can either go downstairs and walk around and try to find some street food or a little restaurant, which it would have been much cheaper, or I could have just eaten at the hotel. In general, people aren't going to eat at the hotel restaurant by themselves, because it's kind of awkward, and you're definitely not going to meet people there. But if they have a rooftop bar somewhere that kind of serves some snacks or food, maybe tapas, that's a great place to meet people. So what I did was I went straight upstairs, and this is around 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. or something, and I was alone. I traveled with my buddy Chris, but I think he was busy. I don't know what he was doing, maybe taking a nap or something. But I went straight up, so I was alone. I didn't know anyone, and I saw there was an empty bar, and I saw there's a big group of maybe 10 people sitting at a booth kind of in the corner. It looked like they all knew each other forever. It looked like a private party. And honestly, I didn't really want to just walk up there because it felt awkward, right? But my option was to sit at the bar alone or go back downstairs or just give it a shot. So I decided, you know what? It's the first day. Let me go up. I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to intrude or bother anyone. But let me kind of just walk up and just say hi. And guess what? Everybody was super welcoming. They're like, hey, are you here for the conference? And they were excited to be there because they had just arrived. They wanted to meet people. And I was literally one of the first 10 people they met. So think about it that way. As in timing wise, if you did that maybe on day 2 or day 3 where they already had their clique or, kind of a circle of friends, then you might feel a little bit like you're intruding, especially if it wasn't a conference. If it was just like, let's say, Friday night or something, then you would definitely feel like you're intruding. But at a conference, people want to meet each other. People are there to meet you. So by you going up and just saying, hi, are you here for the conference? You will get invited in. So I ended up meeting 10 super cool people, including some pretty high level contacts if I ever, needed them for business, advice or connections. I met someone who works for Facebook. She does all the ads at Facebook. I met a couple people who are actually speakers. I met one person who was actually one of the organizers of the event. And these are people that I probably would not have met on day 2 or 3 because it would have been so crowded. So tip number 2 that I want to give everyone is plan your schedule in advance. And this applies to both, site like parties or other event things, but also the presentations. So as far as the parties, the reason why Affiliate World is actually so famous is they actually grew their reputation on some of the best parties. They are one of the few conferences in the world, besides maybe all the beverage conferences, for the alcohol brands. But these guys are notorious for having open bar parties. And a lot of it is because their core audience, and if you guys aren't familiar with Affiliate World, they are sponsored, or they're a company that was created by the founders of a forum called Stack That Money. And this is, I said that correctly, Stack That Money. And the more you say it, the more you actually like it. In the beginning, some people are kind of put off by the name. But Stack That Money is a paid forum. I think it's something crazy like $97 a month to be a part of. And most people in there are some type of affiliate marketer. And most of their affiliate marketing is on the side of, like pay-per-click type stuff, or cost per action type of affiliate marketing, not like the type of affiliate marketing that I do or Pat Flynn does, which is more like personal brand affiliate marketing, where you create content and then you happen to have an affiliate link. The stuff that these guys do is more like we take an ad out on Facebook or on Google or somewhere else. We have an offer for a product or service, and then they click it and buy it. It has nothing to do with creating content or like blogs or YouTube channels or anything like that. It's really just an ad that someone clicks, either text ad or banner or pop-up. And if you buy it, then they get commission for it. So the reason why this forum is so popular is because a lot of the techniques they do are, very fringe. There's obviously a lot of people in there that, do completely what you call white hat stuff, which is, for example, one of the talks this week was them breaking down white hat campaigns. There's a new kind of little device called the tracker. You might have seen Facebook ads for this, where basically somebody is, you attach it. It's like a little key ring almost. So you attach it to your keys or your, dog collar. You can put it in your glove box of your car or in your purse. And if you lose it, you can use the app to track to see where it is. So I haven't personally used Tracker before, so I don't know if it's if it's a good product or not. But obviously, it's it's a legitimate product in terms where it's a physical product. Someone will ship it to you. It probably does exactly what it says. So why do they need these affiliates? Is because instead of running a Super Bowl ad or TV ad or them trying to sell it themselves, they have affiliates that get paid between, let's say, 20 to 50% to promote their offer. So every time someone buys it through your link, you get that amount of money. And there's a lot of internet marketing kind of tips and tricks that you can do to make that convert better. So if you're spending, let's say, $10 in ads to get one sale, you might be kind of breaking even on that item. But if there's little things you can do where you can either spend less on ads or convert more, then you make more. So one of the reasons why people join this forum is because they want good relationships with the affiliate managers. They want to be able to find good offers. They want to get different traffic sources besides Facebook and Google, do like different type of ad networks. And the reason for that is there's also people in this forum who do more gray or black hat type of marketing, where they might be promoting a casino offer or some kind of Viagra pill or something that they can't legally advertise through Google or Facebook. So that's also a place where people can kind of exchange these more black hat type skills. But what I like about Affiliate World is they're kind of getting away from a lot of that. Just kind of looking at their lineup now versus it was 2 or 3 years ago. Now they have they actually invited Facebook to come. They invited Google to come. They invited Shopify to come. So even though they kind of built their core audience on a lot of the crazier stuff, they are moving a lot towards normal, I would say, like completely legit type of offers, because this stuff works on, to sell anything. I mean, you can sell pet food, you can sell, a dog collar using the same type of tactics that you can do to sell a, online casino. I think one of the reasons why people still like that is because, there's less competition, because it's first off illegal, so you have to like do crazy things to advertise it. But second, the potential payouts can be a lot higher, because, it's kind of like being an online drug dealer, but instead of selling, an illegal drug, you're selling an illegal gambling offer, you're selling an illegal XYZ. I don't dip into any of that stuff, so I don't really know that much about it, but it was kind of eye-opening to meet some of the people who were doing it, kind of hear some of them kind of break down their campaigns and how they do it. But affiliate world itself is getting less and less like that. So I would be willing to bet that in the next couple of years, it's going to be a lot more mainstream than it is, black hat or gray hat. So speaking of which, I mean, one of the reasons why people go there is to meet their affiliate managers and their traffic managers in person. The attendees are a mixture of people who are just starting out, as well as some people who are actually crushing it. There was a couple people who I met who are doing, like literally millions of dollars in affiliate commissions, because they're promoting, crazy offers that other people would have no idea how to promote. And then there's a lot of people who are doing, very just normal kind of lifestyle businesses like drop shipping, using more of an affiliate model than the type, let's say, Anton teaches. So what's hot, I guess, for 2016 at Affiliate World? One is there's a really, really big push towards drop shipping from Alibaba to Shopify, which is a big reason why Shopify was sponsoring the event, and they were kind of and they had two panels, one which I actually spoke on. The reason why I think this is so hot is because, first off, it's completely legal. So, the people in the forums, the conferences really like it when their members are doing very white hat type of, of projects that are Google and Facebook friendly, because they want, they obviously want to be a big name, and you can't be a big name if you're only dealing with, these small kind of shady companies, right? So what exactly is dropshipping from Alibaba or AliExpress to Shopify? Basically, what they do is everybody who wants to build a dropship store, an online store, one of their biggest kind of hardships is, where do I get products? How do I get suppliers? And AliExpress or Alibaba makes it really easy, where they prove anyone. I mean, you can basically just buy stuff wholesale from China and then have it shipped directly to your customer. That's dropshipping. With Shopify, it makes it easy because not only is Shopify a very easy to use web tool where you can create an e-commerce store in literally a day or two, because everything's kind of drag and drop now, but also they have apps where you can integrate, everything from a product, an app that will pull products automatically from AliExpress and just fill up your store, so you don't have to upload anything, to, apps where you can track shipping and have them send out emails, and it just makes it a lot easier. So on my panel, which was called How to Make Money with Dropshipping, sponsored by Shopify, we had one of the founders of Alberto, which is an app that it basically integrates exactly that. So it integrates how to it integrates Shopify with AliExpress, and that's Orbello. Actually, what's funny is, before I went on stage, I was like, how do you pronounce this? Because it's spelled Oberlo or something. And my buddy Chris was like, you have to get it right. You're going to sound like an idiot on stage if you get it wrong. So I asked Thomas, he's the CMO, I think that's like Chief Marketing Officer or something. He's co-founder. I was like, how do you pronounce it? What does it mean? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, it's just a word. We just had the we had the domain and it was short. So there is no official pronunciation for Orbello, so just pronounce whatever you want. I think it used to be called like Ali Importer or something, but they changed the name because they want to do more than just AliExpress. They want to be able to import other things as well. Also on my panel was Drake Andrews. He's an affiliate manager at Shopify, so an official Shopify employee. So it's kind of cool having him there because he sees the back end, he sees what types of stores are doing the best, and so you can really see, who's crushing it kind of on Shopify in the e-commerce world, so you can kind of give advice on that. So a ton of people are doing this type of dropshipping. The reason why I personally don't do it, and we talked about this on stage, they filmed the conference. I don't know where they're going to post it. I think it might be like a private video for people who bought like the gold entrance package for Affiliate World, because there's like different levels. You can buy the silver, which is just basic attendance, and then I think the gold you can watch all the replays. So I think it's gonna be on there. So unfortunately, I don't think I can share my talk with you guys, or at least openly. But basically, what it was is the three of us had very different views on how to make money with dropshipping. On the far left, and literally he was sitting on the far left, Drake, who works officially for Shopify, his stance is to follow your passions 100%, just sell anything, whether it's your art, your photography, or a product that you made, or you want to drop ship that you really believe in. On the far left was Thomas, who said it's just sell everything. So that's what our tool is for. Import hundreds of thousands of products and see what sells and see what sticks. I was literally sitting in the middle, and my stance is sell selected amounts of items that will ship, that something about, that are high priced. So on the Brello side, they're mainly selling products that are under $60, so between $10 and $40 on average. And the reason why they do that is because it's cheap, it's easy, you can get a lot of volume, you can literally get hundreds of sales a day if you needed to. But the reason why I don't like it is customer service is a nightmare, because things are getting shipped from China. It takes 4 to 5 weeks to come, and I think that's going to piss off 99% of your customers. For repeat sales, going to feature longevity. A lot of products are just going to be crap products just because they're from AliExpress or shipped from there. I don't like the business model personally, but I also agree that I know people are making money with it. So if that is something that interests you, where you're like, I like big data, I want the challenge of dealing with hundreds of customers, and I want to outsource everything. I want to have a team. I want to have VAs. I want to have, I'd rather have a lot of small sales and do scale it up as quick as possible versus building a kind of long-term store. Then it's definitely an option. So for me, I follow Anton's course, antonmethod.com, and he teaches, don't give yourself a headache, don't give yourself another job, sell high price items, that are between, let's say, $300 to $800. That way, even if you only make 2 or 3 sales a day, you're still making a good, very, very good amount of money, but you're just not dealing with as much headache. So that's the type of a business that I like the most. But I will say that dropshipping is definitely super hot again, now that it's the end of 2016, starting 2017. I think it's going to be another hot topic. But there's trends and they go up and down. I mean, it's crazy because I started dropshipping in 2013, and everyone said it was super hot that year. And then it kind of died off and nobody talked about it for 2 years. They're like, oh, everyone tried to move on to other things. And now it's back again. So I think it's going to be a business model that's always going to come back and forth, and it's always going to work. There's always going to be a different way of doing it, but it's always going to work. So from the other talks, I actually took notes on what I've learned and kind of the people that I really admire the most. My favorite talk by far was from Neil Patel. He's actually the founder of a bunch of software like Hello Bar, which I personally use for my Shopify stores. So I think that's pretty cool. And he gave a very, very good talk about, using things like webinars to sell your courses, why you should sell, why your main product should be $1,000 and not $200. And these are more for digital products and digital courses. So it really applied to me. I think a lot more than it's going to be a lot of people. So what I like about these talks is you just have to find someone who not only resonates you, but what they're speaking about is applicable to you right now. So the things that he was saying might not be applicable to you guys for, this year. So it's one of those things where if you listen to it, you might be like, okay, well, sounds like a smart guy, but it's not really what I'm doing. The other people I really liked was Charles No, who actually I've been following online for a while. He is one of the most outspoken people in that affiliate world. He kind of openly talks about, doing, some crazy black hat campaigns. So I thought it was just interesting, even though I didn't want to do it myself. I just find it very fascinating to understand what they're doing. So I got to meet him on the first day. And what was funny is I kind of just assumed he knew who I was, because I had messaged him a few times on Facebook. There's some mutual friends, we're both Asian guys. And I think for the first 2 minutes, he had no idea who I was. So instead of, making it awkward, I was kind of just, I think a lot of networking has to do with not being weird or creepy. And I know this is really hard to kind of differentiate. But a lot of it is just being a normal, cool guy where you're not trying too hard. You're not being too needy. You're not trying to grasp for straws or grasp for conversation, but just being like a normal person, just like you would meet, anyone else. And what was funny is, even though it was the first 2 minutes, it was very awkward. After he kind of felt me out and he realized I wasn't there to try to get anything from him. I wasn't trying to, I wasn't trying too hard. He really opened up, and he actually started giving me a ton of advice for my own sites, my own courses, with kind of unsolicited. I didn't ask him for any of it. He just dropped all the knowledge bombs on me, and he's a very, very smart guy, hard worker. The other person I was really interested in meeting and hearing from was Matthew Woodward, who has a blog, and he talks a lot about SEO and starting a blog. And the reason why I heard of him was there's a bunch of people who rank income reports to see how much everyone online makes per month, and he's the one that's always slightly above me. So I think this month he made $29,000 in profit, and I made $24,000 profit, and I'm literally right under him. So when I met him, I just kind of in a very friendly way, I introduced myself and I said, "Hey, I've been chasing your tail for the last couple months. I'm gonna try to beat you." And he accepted the friendly challenge. I think it's fun. I think the takeaways I got from his talk, as well as what he does really well, is he does a lot of SEO, which I literally do none of. I think a lot of people assume I'm good at SEO because my blog comes up for a lot of search topics, and I have a lot of what you would call a backlink, but I've never built backlinks, and I've never actually optimized any of my SEO titles. I don't think I even have an H1 or H2 header tag, which is these things that I kind of understand because I know other people who do it, and I like to kind of just understand everything, even if I'm not actively doing it. But for me, I'm all about creating content. So if I can create something that people want to share, then I know it's going to do well. If I create something that isn't interesting to read or people don't really care about, then I don't care how good the SEO tags are or how many links you have to it. I don't think it's going to do well. So it was good knowing kind of the things that he does. So big thank you to Matthew for kind of giving me some tips and advice on how to come after you. But at the end of the day, I actually think we have a very different audience. He's more interested in teaching people how to start a blog, how to do SEO, how to rank. And I'm more interested in, in creating content and interviewing people who are doing well and kind of exploring all the different passive income streams. So I don't think either of us are, in direct competition. And even if we were, it doesn't matter. It's like the internet's such a big place. And at the end of the day, people will follow who they resonate with. So for example, if you're an English guy and you can understand his accent, you might really like him more than you like me. But if you're not, used to that very heavy English accent, you might not want to listen to him. I mean, regardless of how smart he is, you might be like, man, I just can't stand this guy's voice, or I can't understand half of what he says. Let me not listen to this guy. So aside from those speakers, I think the other person that I heard speak that it was really cool meeting him, this guy named Drew from fitlife.tv. And they sell green juice called Organifi. I actually don't know how their business model works, but I just quickly looked at their site, and it looks like he's doing really big numbers. So it's kind of cool seeing, how many successful people there are in the world that maybe you never even heard of until you actually go to one of these events and you get to meet them in person. You just realize they're like a normal, cool person, and everyone in the world, they have their challenges as well. So he's probably making millions, very smart guy. He's in great shape. I think, he has like, him and his girlfriend both have six packs. We're hanging out by the pool. But one thing that, that we are doing better as digital nomads is we have the freedom to travel and work remotely while, even though he got to come to this trip because he was a speaker, he had been scheduled to go back the day after. And when I met them by the pool and I was talking to him and his girlfriend, I was like, dude, like, you flew so far, man. Like, you got to go and just enjoy the travel a little bit longer. And he's like, oh, our flight's tomorrow. And, I have, I got to make these videos. And I'm like, dude, make them at the beach. People are going to love seeing you at the beach. Your audience is going to love having your Saturday, session or your Monday mindset session at the beach, while you're on vacation, because that really shows that you're living your life and not just, in the office all the time. And I think they took my advice, because I see them, following them on Facebook now, and I see that they're back down on the islands. So I'm very, very happy that, hopefully that's kind of the impact that I made on their life. But what that also kind of showed me was we all have things that we are, that we are successful at, or, we've kind of achieved. And then there's always things we're still working on as well. So when I saw him by the pool, it's like, man, I really need to get back in shape. So he kind of inspired me to start eating healthier again, get back on the paleo diet and start working out again. And also to scale my business to grow it even bigger than some of these people. So that is pretty much the conference. I'll say my best advice is don't go overboard in the open bar, because that made me that was my biggest regret. Is all 3 nights we went to different parties, and it was super fun. But afterwards, you realize I could have learned so much more from from the events. I would have felt better, and I would have had more time to have done things like recorded an episode versus, waking up hungover, not feeling well. Honestly, on the last day, we thought we had planned it well because our flight wasn't going to leave until 3 p.m. So I was like, okay, I'm going to wake up the last day, go for a swim, go work out, sit down with someone who I met at the conference and do an episode. But I felt so bad after having, 20 drinks or whatever it was at the various parties I went to, that all I wanted to do was take a nap, go back to bed and then go to the airport. And then unfortunately, my flight was delayed. Bangkok Air completely messed up. They were missing, one of their planes were out of service because of some flooding. So what they did was they tried to make it up by moving other flights around. And what really was annoying was they kept telling us, like, oh, it's delayed by 45 minutes, And every time we would go to the gate, they would say, oh, it's another 45 minutes. So we had to go back 3 or 4 times. And when you're hungover and you just want to get back, it's very annoying because it ended up taking 7 hours to get back, and it's only a 1 hour flight. So it was pretty much the equivalent of me traveling from Europe back to Asia, even though I was literally just going from Bangkok to Chiang Mai. So that was not the best experience. I think in retrospect, what I would have done is just taking it a little bit easier. I still would have been out and drank because, it is part of the experience. It is fun, but I would have cut myself off at midnight instead of going out until later. And then I would have limited the amount of drinks that I would have. I would have literally counted it or had a soda water in between each. So as a tip, when you do go, I think if you go to the parties, especially because most of the networking parties start at 7 p.m., if you make it a goal to be back home and in bed before midnight, so start heading home, by 10 or 11, and you can wake up for all the conferences, not miss any of the talks, feel refreshed, while still going out and meeting some cool people, having fun. I think that is going to be my recommendation for future conferences. I know not everyone's going to follow that, but at least now what it takes if you want to get the most out of it. And it's not just me. The couple super ballers that I met while I was there, the ones that were actually having the $1 million years, none of them were out past midnight getting trashed. I think most of them actually went just to kind of shake hands and have dinner or hang out with either their affiliate managers or some of the other kind of high level people that they knew, just to kind of increase that relationship. Because I do think that if you meet people in person, it's gonna validate your relationship so much more. So for example, with Shopify, I've been trying to get them to give me a vanity URL. So like shopify.com/JohnnyFD for my link for the longest time. And they've always said no. They said they're too busy. They can't do it. And now that I'm in person, they're like, yeah, sure. I'm happy to do it for you, which is cool. Don't go to EX. I don't know what's going to actually be set up. But they also told me some inside info. They said, by the way, that 20% off Shopify for Life discount you have is going away. And I was like, no. Like, just pretend we never had this conversation. I'll keep my long, tracking link. And they said, no, it has nothing to do with that. We've been under pressure by Shopify corporate to get rid of them. And we've actually gotten rid of most of them already. You are one of 3 people who still have it that we haven't got rid of yet. So it's going to be going away by the end of 2016. So if you're listening to this in 2017, it's probably gone already. Sorry. But if it's still December, what you can do is you can start your store now. If you want to start a second store, start it now. That way you'll be grandfathered in. So that way, hopefully, it'll be, they'll honor it forever. From what we talked about over dinner, they said that people that already had the discount applied, they're going to be able to keep it. So you'll be grandfathered in. If you want that discount, the easiest way is to go to dropshiplab.com/discounts, and that gives you the PDF download as PDF instructions on how to claim it. Or you can sign up for the email list at johnnyfd.com, and in that email, you'll have that PDF as well. But dropshiplab.com/discounts is the direct link, and I'll have it in the show notes of this episode as well. Aside from that, yeah, I think meeting people in person is the best way to network ever. I know Sam and I were talking about having a networking episode on Invest Like a Boss. We just haven't gotten around to it yet. So hopefully this gives you some of those tips already. Please let me know if you liked this episode. I don't know if I actually like doing it because it's more fun to talk to someone else. And to be honest, it's kind of tiring to talk by myself for 40 minutes. But there's a lot of information I wanted to give all of you, and I didn't want to skip a week just because I messed up. So if you like this episode, please let me know in the comments. By the way, since I've had you guys on right now and I have time, I wanted to give a big thank you to everyone who's been leaving all these great reviews on the iTunes store for the podcast. You guys are the reason why Travel Like a Boss has become as big as it has, and while it reaches so many more people who want to learn how to live a location-independent life as an entrepreneur or as a digital nomad. So big shout out to everyone as well, and I will see all I literally have months of them to catch up on. So sorry I haven't been giving you guys shout outs, but trust me when I tell you, I really appreciate every single one of you. So here's just a couple from these are from months ago, even though we probably had 30 cents, but I just want to go in order. By Iqbal from the UK. If you want the 4-hour work week lifestyle, then listen to this. 5 stars. Johnny is actually a location independent entrepreneur who has inspired the reading Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week. If you are a big fan of the book, and then you would love this, he talks about his experiences and interviews cool people that he comes across. He has a great laid-back style and is very motivational. I'm going to go back and listening to all the old episodes. So big thank you to Iqbal. We have Dylan Yodgi from Australia. Been listening for a long time now. Think I've listened to every episode. We listen to episodes by the pool in Koh Tao, Thailand. Getting motivated to really start smashing out some drop shipping. The time is now. Thanks for the podcast. Insightful, motivating, and extremely generous of Johnny. Keep up the good work. And the last one is from Elra from the US. Great, 5 stars. I'm loving this podcast so far. It's real, down to earth, and actionable. Great job. And thanks. So big thank you to all of you who've been leaving reviews. You guys are freaking amazing. Tell your friends about the podcast. Share it. Leave a review on the iTunes store, regardless of what country you're from, because that is the single best thing you can do to help spread the word, besides just telling your friends. So I'll see all of you next week. Peace out. Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus, How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.